All right, welcome back, everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 replay cast. I know between the Alpha Star videos and the Africa World VODs that I don't often get to sit down and cast just like a straight up Starcraft 2 random ladder match as often as I'd like. So here we have one which I think is going to be a good one. No, I guarantee you is going to be a good one because it's two fantastic players, two chaotic players, and one of them even said themselves that they recommend this game, that it was crazy, so they sent me the replay. And when a pro player recommends a game of StarCraft 2, that's how you know it's going to be good, because they see a lot of StarCraft 2 games, and you almost become desensitized to them after a while. So when someone who's played as many games as these guys have meet each other, it's just, and they say it's a good game, you know it's a good game. So let's jump right on into it without further ado. In the bottom right hand side of the map, it is Bly. And in the top left-hand side of the map, a very good Protoss player. It's Gungfubanda. Gungfubanda, a little bit lesser known, I guess, just due to his consistency, in a sense. He was very, very good. Top European Protoss for a time. Then he kind of took a bit of a break, but now he's back, and he's creeped up to being a top European Protoss again, and he hasn't been seen around too much since then, as there hasn't been too many like big tournaments since he came back, but this could be a very promising year of Gungfubanda, as he had some lethal builds in his StarCraft 2 Prime, and just one of those players that is like, wow, you're gonna just show up and kick ass. And yeah, so here we are in Gungfubanda's base. We pull up the production tab. Normal Protoss stuff going on, all the while for Bly, a bit of an aggressively placed hatchery, taking the more forward base as Gungfubanda blocked his natural. However, that's completely fine, as it's a reaction to the Protoss player sending out that early probe, so nothing out of the ordinary there. It's no telltale sign of a nuts game just yet. However, ladies and gentlemen, before things do heat up, seeing as how this is one of them OG StarCraft 2 replay casts, let's try and hit 30 likes on this video. So slap that like button, and now things are going to start heating on up here. We see a Stargate on the way for Gungfubanda. His Adept moving across the map, going to show up, make sure that probe gets home safe. Couple of Lings do run in for Bly. This is pretty much impossible for Protoss to stop this scout of these Lings getting into their base, so the Stargate gets seen. No surprise there. The Adept runs in for Gungfubanda, however, Lings are there to greet it. Looks like the Adept is going to actually get killed off there. That is a very nice start for Bly, seeing as how he's still got his Ling in the main base, being a pain to Gungfubanda. Just a little nuisance here and there, but losing that Adept for Gungfubanda does hurt a little bit. It's not game-ending or anything, or omens of things to come, but yeah, you definitely want to try and keep your first Adept alive, as it's handy to have an extra Adept when you try and secure your third base. Just help defend in case your opponent gets aggressive or whatever. Really, there's no situation in which losing a unit is good in StarCraft 2, unless maybe like it's a Baneling or something like that, and take some units with it. Now we do take a look though. Bly just droning up. He's making 3 queens at a time to be defensive, spread his creep, and then he'll be able to get his natural, which is technically his third base, fully saturated on up soon, or maybe he'll switch to something more aggressive that has yet to be seen. Queens gonna shoo away that Oracle. Looks like there's a drone popping out of this natural base, gonna turn itself into a Spore Crawler, make sure it is safe from that Oracle. Another drone pops on out, gonna have to run away there. The drone has to cancel and become a Spore Crawler again and again in order to stay safe, but the Oracle gets repelled. No damage really gets done to Bly, so a good opener for the Zerg so far, but let's take a look here. A Roach Warren on the way for Bly. Now, this is around the 40 drone mark, so we can't necessarily say if this is going to be offensive or just a defensive amount of Roaches. Seeing as how Bly is a more aggressive Zerg, there definitely is a chance he could be going for an aggressive build, but we take a look at Gungfubanda's side of the map, and he's suddenly thrown up 6 more gateways. He's got a robo. He's going up to 8 gateways, not taking a third, so we're going to be seeing a lot of Protoss units coming Bly's way pretty soon. A big classic all-in. This is a very Gungfubanda type style. He was doing builds like this in the past, and now he's doing them again. So going to be a lethal push coming out of the Protoss, heading towards this poor Zerg's base, and we'll see if Bly is going to be ready to defend this. For now, he's making some Roaches. Roach is a very well-rounded defensive unit for the Zerg. However, sometimes they're not enough in order to defend versus like Immortals and just a ton of gateway units at an odd time. So Gungfubanda has himself his 3rd Nexus on the way up. However, I mean, that 3rd Nexus doesn't necessarily mean he's macroing. He is going to be going aggressive. And Bly, as a matter of fact, is actually going to be moving out with his Queens now. He's got his Roaches out. There's a chance he's planning to go for a big aggressive attack. So these are going to be 2 big aggressive attacks meeting each other in the middle, as a matter of fact. So this could actually be a little bit nuts here. I want to say that this is probably better for the Zerg. The fact that he was already making a ton of units by the time the Protoss was planning a big all-in, corrosive biles and force fields getting thrown down en masse on both sides. So far, though, we take a look. Bly saying, right, I'm not just going to defend your attack, I am going to go for my own. And all of a sudden, since Gungfubanda's the defender who went for all these gateways, he might be in the better position. It's tough to say, but all of a sudden, these Queens are now going to be moving into Gungfubanda's side of the map. Corrosive Bile getting tossed down. His Lings are going to try and make their way into his natural. It looks like the fight's going to happen on this ramp. This is good for Gungfubanda, being able to toss down force fields. The Warp Prison is still up in the sky. It can be used to micro those units. So far, a pretty good defense from the Protoss player, picking off a couple of the Zerg's units. More and more force fields going down, but Bly is not giving on up this game. He's going to be producing more Roaches, more Lings on the way. Looks like Gungfubanda might be going on the offensive, turning the direction of the attack around once again as he moves out to pick off a couple of Bly's units. Just good force field usage from the Protoss player. Non-stop force fields have been getting Gungfubanda nice pickoffs for minimal losses himself. Bly does say, though, fine, I'll macro as he throws up a 4th hatchery. He's going to be producing more Queens back at home. And then probably just going to make some more drones, I imagine, as he is going to, if he is going to macro, he's going to want to start producing more and more of those. Or who knows, maybe he's just going to use that extra hatchery to make more and more units before another big attack. We shall see, but take a look at this. Gungfubanda going to be moving out onto the map. Meanwhile, Bly attacking at the 3rd base, really catching Gungfubanda off guard a little bit, but take a look at that. A Stasis Ward catches some of the Zerg units, and Gungfubanda is once again cutting this Zerg army into pieces with his force fields. Bly is taking a fight right now. I'm not sure how well it's going to go for him, as he's definitely going to lose a big chunk of his units, and he is going to be forced to retreat, all the while Gungfubanda saved his 3rd Nexus, which is a very important fact for the Protoss. We take a look, though. Bly going to be going in once again. He's losing a ton of Lings, though, due to the force fields that have been getting thrown down non-stop by Gungfubanda, just picking off more and more of Bly's units. At every turn, his force fields have got himself so much value this game. Bly looking to go for a multi-prong attack, but these Ravagers are a little bit separated right now, and they could be getting force fielded. Looks like most of them do manage to escape there. 2 get picked off, and Bly does actually manage to take out the Protoss' 3rd base while this is going on, so that's a nice move for him. He's also going to pick off these pylons as well, which will heavily supply block Gungfubanda, meaning he has to throw up more just to build some units. And that's going to be a while before those are all done. So no reinforcements for a couple seconds here for Gungfubanda. And he's just going to focus on going for a big attack. Bly says, nope, I'm abandoning that base. He knows he will die if he fights at this base. Now he's just trying to buy as much time as possible. He's got a good Roach count, a good Ravager count. But is it enough to hold on? Supplies are very, very equal right now. Bly, meanwhile, going for a counterattack with his Lings. Going to crash into the Zergs, into the Protoss' natural. I'm not sure those Lings are going to be able to make the breach happen, though, and while they do make it into the main base, not many of them are left, so Gungfubanda does defend that attack, and he's going to be taking out one of Bly's hatcheries while this is going on. Fortunately for Bly, he did throw up yet another hatch, which is very, very important for him. And this game is just back and forth here. So let's take a look now. Gungfubanda, just with his original sentries, with his original big Protoss ball of unupgraded units, is going to be looking to push on in. Once again, he wants to try and bait Bly into a bad fight, which he can maybe grow a victory from. Gungfubanda, once again, repelling a Ling counterattack. He doesn't have a third base. He is stuck on 2 bases, while Bly does have himself up that extra base, so he's on 3 still, which is better for the Zerg, I'd say. Gungfubanda has pulled back now, though. He is going to be getting up a Robo. He's going to be getting up a Robo Bay as well, so maybe going to be going into Colossus production or Disruptors, something like that, as he figures, right, I need to change it up a little bit. Just these unupgraded Stalkers, Zealots aren't going to cut it anymore, so he's planning on going into Disruptors as we see double Disruptor production fire on up just off the back of 2 bases. Really going to add some lethality into this army if he can get a big hit with those Disruptors. Meanwhile, Hallucinated Warp Prism harassment, not going to do much, and the main prism also gets defended. Disruptors are now out for Gungfubanda, so he's got those added in his army. However, Bly still mining more than Gungfubanda. He's on a healthier long-term economy, and so that means that Bly may potentially outlast Gungfubanda. However, it's a double-edged sword when you're fighting versus Disruptor armies, pardon me, as the more units you have, the more you have to split, the harder it is to dodge those Novas, and it can make life really hard for the Zerg. And if we take a look right now, Bly is making a ton of Banelings. However, they might not have speed in time in order to intercept this attack, which is going to be coming his way, as dodging Disruptors with slow Banelings can be tough. There's going to be a lot of sentries tossing down force fields to wall out the Banelings as well. So this is potentially going to be a tough hold for Bly. Looks like he did pick off a Disruptor, though. With his counterattack, he might make it into the natural of his opponent, but he decides to look for the third, but there is no third. This has truly realized how all-in Gungfubanda is. He's almost maxed out on supply on 2 bases. This is truly a big old all-in, and now we're going to be seeing the Protoss player step forward. He's got Disruptors in his army. Krozabal's getting tossed out. Bly is going to have to dodge these Disruptors and somehow take a good fight. He's going to need a big surround and probably Baneling speed to finish up before he can do that. He's got his Banelings waddling back and forth, but they are so slow. Once they have speed, it's a lot easier in order to pounce on top of this Protoss force. We're going to see how a potential engagement could go down. There's simply so much force field here, though, for Gungfubanda. He can just completely defend his army from Bly's attack. Let's take a look. Gungfubanda has baited Bly into an engagement. Banelings are rolling forward. Disruptors are getting tossed out. Big Nova connections and more force fields going down. However, Banelings are finding their way onto the Zerg army. Meanwhile, more Banelings are rolling forward. They are connecting with the Protoss force, and Gungfubanda is on the retreat. He's eating corrosive biles as he steps backwards, and it simply looks like Bly might have enough in order to repel this Protoss force. However, both players are leaving this fight very, very bloodied. Now, Bly, he's making as many units as he can just in order to remax. He knows how close this game is. He knows there's no third base for the Protoss player. Gungfubanda, though, still figures he's got a chance in this game as he's making himself a few Colossus here. Suddenly, he's going to have 3 Colossus to help out in his army, and they add a lot of passive AoE damage, which can really, really hold up a Protoss force. So that could be all that Gungfubanda needs to make another attack happen. But we do have to keep in mind the Protoss player is really starting to mine out here. Only 4 mineral patches left in each base, so he has to throw up a third. However, I don't know if that's going to be enough here. Bly maybe now wants to be the offensive player, but he's also throwing up another hatchery. However, his economy is still a lot better than his opponent, as it is important to keep in mind, Bly took his third base at his natural, so his actual natural base, or his second base here, isn't mined out, whereas Gungfubanda's is. So that's actually something that's helping Bly out here, having a longer-term economy. However, I mean, this Protoss army is still so lethal. 3 Colossus, there's sentries in the mix, there's Disruptors. Bly's going to have a tough time engaging this army with just Roaches and Ravagers and Banelings. So we'll see if he's going to be able to shut this army down once again. It's going to be close, though, I feel. Disruptors could be looking for some big hits here. Gungfubanda looking to push on in. Once again, he wants to bait Bly into a bad fight. Observer eats a corrosive bile. So Gungfubanda no longer has that to pick off creep. However, he does have another one in his army there, but Observer is not really too important at this stage in the game. Disruptors tossing out their Novas there, looking for big hits. Gungfubanda getting up his third base. A couple of roaches are attacking. However, the Zealots will deal with those. Gungfubanda gonna be looking for a Disruptor hit. Bly eats a nasty connection there as that Disruptor gets 6 kills. Big Ravager kills there due to that Disruptor hit. Bly with a few roaches looking to attack into the third base of his opponent, but that's not gonna happen. Both players just a little unsure of what to do. It seems Gungfubanda unsure of whether he needs to really push the attack. Bly just unsure if Gungfubanda is going to attack. And let's take a look here right now. The Protoss player has pulled back, but he's going to move on in once more. So, I mean, we take a look. Bly finally makes something different here as he fires up 8 Swarm Hosts, which I actually like as a decision in these long, drawn-out situations. Swarm Hosts could be very, very helpful for Bly, but take a look at this. In goes the Protoss Force once more. Baneling's going to roll forward, look for good connections. Force Fields are tossed out. However, the Baneling's going to make it through. A lot of the Force Fields get taken out there by Ravagers. However, a good chunk of the Banelings fell as well, so neither player coming unscathed in these engagements. And take a look at this. Gungfubanda wants to push on in once more. Gungfubanda moving forward, wants to bait Bly into a bad fight, but the Corrosive Biles are being constantly used to zone out that Protoss army. It's like a bit of adept harassment going on at Bly's 4th base. But we do take a look here. Gungfubanda is only on 31 probes, whereas Bly's at 52 drones, which is significantly more. However, this game really is all going to come down to the one big army fight, I imagine. There's simply too much of an army and not enough of an economy for both players for it really to be super significant at this point. We do take a look, though. Bly going to land these Locusts, actually going to catch himself an Archon, and now that is a nice pickoff for the Zerg. Archons, very, very important here on a low economy situation. Swarm Host, get blinked on top of by the Stalkers, but this could actually be Bly's moment, looking for a big fight. Corrosive Biles getting tossed down. Bly wants to let his units through, but not able to make that happen, as he is forcing the Protoss player back. Bly making more Swarm Host here, as he's just going to have a ton of those out, just try and get some continued value with them. He does have his 4th base alive still. And Gungfubanda's army just isn't that good. He's just been dilly-dallying so long, trying to make a push happen, but knowing that he really can't push into this much Zerg, as the Corrosive Bile and the Banelings will just roll forward and give him a lot of grief. More Corrosive Bile being tossed down, hits the Warp Prism, but doesn't kill it. So far, though, Gungfubanda's army is really just very, very soft here in the form of 34 Stalkers. However, Corrosive Bile and Banelings can quickly make mincemeat of them. More Corrosive Bile getting tossed down, just trying to get a good connection on the Protoss army. Disruptor goes out, though, but good dodge from Bly. And these players are still skirmishing it out, but oh, that Disruptor gets an R8 connection. Bly's dodge was decent, though. Could have been a much, much worse connection for the Zerg player. Swarm Host tossing out a wave of Locust. Gungfubanda probably going to want to back out after that, though, as you don't want to be fighting those free units. The Locusts are going to land, but they're not going to get too much done. Sentry gets picked off. Both players losing units here and there still. But Bly, once again, repels his opponent. However, it did cost him his 4th base. And both players, I mean, they were mined out before, but now they're pretty much completely mined out. So really, every base matters in this situation right now. Bly, though, going to be getting up some Vipers now, and that could be what he needs to turn this game around, as he can start abducting the Protoss units and really punish Gungfubanda for dilly-dallying in fights. Take a look, though. These Stalkers really far out on creep, but they can always blink back. They can be covered with force fields if need be for Gungfubanda. The Swarm Host going to be looking for a counterattack once again for Bly. If he can knock out this third base, that would be absolutely huge for him. He tosses out his wave of Locust pretty far from the actual base, so that is going to cut into their timer, but this is going to force Gungfubanda to run the probes away. We'll see if this Nexus is going to fall. Bly isn't really focusing with the Locust, though, as he's busy on this front. Are they going to get the Nexus? They do, though, regardless, and look at that, a Link counterattack, even finding the probes of Gungfubanda. If Gungfubanda wasn't all in before, he is certainly now. Bly having a run from Disruptors, he dodges them once more, meanwhile dealing critical damage to Gungfubanda's economy. Gungfu has to cancel the Nexus, and all of a sudden he's down to 0 probes. What you see is what you get for the Protoss player. He needs to win the game now, sooner rather than later, but Bly has got up Vipers. He can start abducting these critical units. Colossus getting pulled forward, another Colossus gets pulled forward, Blinding Cloud goes down as well, and that looks like a positive engagement for Bly. Disruptors getting pulled forward, looking for good connections. There's some alright shots, but so far, nothing game-winning for Gungfubanda. He's now lost most of his Disruptors, all the while a wave of Locust is now getting tossed down by the Swarm Host. This will repel the Protoss player, who really just has one Colossus, a couple of Immortals, and then a ton of Stalkers left in his army. However, it still might be enough to push on in, because while the Locusts are on cooldown, there's not really enough for Bly to repel this Protoss force. This game is so close here. Baneling's gonna roll forward. No amazing connections just yet as Gungfubanda pulls back with the Stalkers, but there we go. The Stalkers starting to be softened up by the Roaches and Ravagers. This battle is still going on. This has just been like 10 minutes of constant positioning between these two players. Bly certainly up on the supply, but Gungfubanda has the army in the immediate now with his ton of Stalkers. Their high mobility. He's going to be looking to pick off Bly's third base. This is going to knock down the economy of his opponent, basically to the status of his own. I mean, Gungfubanda has literally no probes right now. If we pull up that units tab, however, Bly really has no bases to mine from, so he can long-distance mine, but his income will be pretty small. But then again, every unit absolutely matters for Gungfubanda at this point in the game. As we take a look here, he literally can't afford to replace anything. He's making one Disruptor, Bly making a couple of Infestors with some of the gas he has. Both players know that it's all just about the one fight here. Gungfubanda going to be picking off a couple of drones, really just trivial at this point. It's all about the army here and now. An Immortal gets abducted by Bly. A nice pick off there. Some of these drones going to be getting picked off. This is still looking like it's pretty good for the Zerg, though. If we take a look right now, Gungfubanda is just going to be getting pushed back. What a close game. I think this is just getting better and better, but take a look at this Disruptor. This could be the shot for Gungfubanda. There's the Disruptor. It's going to toss out its Nova. It doesn't get a huge connection, though. That is not what Gungfubanda was looking for. He needed something bigger than that. However, with this one Disruptor in his army, he does have the chance for a game-changing connection, though. We take a look at the Stalkers moving forward. They got to be careful now, though, because there's Infestors out. They can toss down Fungal Growth, which prevents the Stalkers from blinking. These Stalkers are going to catch a few units of the Zerg. They might be able to get the hatchery and then get out. They get a kill. That's a nice move there for Gungfubanda, because that simply means that Bly is not going to be able to replace as many units as quickly. Infestors eat a Disruptor shot, however they catch a few of the Stalkers, and while Bly can't afford to make much, Gungfubanda can't afford to make anything. Stalkers blink forward, they get a Ravager though. Gungfubanda is still fighting this out, trying to bait Bly into bad fights, as both these players are on essentially no economy. Bly isn't allowed to long distance mine here really, because he's locked in on his base, and there we go, the last mineral patch at his natural is gone, so no economy here for Bly. Blink Stalkers able to pick off one of the Vipers, so Bly losing critical units that he can't replace now. The one Disruptor, the ace up Gungfubanda's sleeve. The supply is actually pretty darn close. Gungfubanda has just been fighting this out non-stop. What an insane PvZ here. The couple of Adepts are being used for vision now by Gungfubanda. Let's take a look here. Stalkers looking just for constant pickoffs, and then they can blink away. And eventually the plan is to nickel and dime Bly till he's got nothing left. There's a few Swarm Hosts left out on the map there to the north there. They might be able to get a pick off or something, but Bly is worried about losing them. And oh, Gungfubanda could have sniffed those out. No, the Swarm Hosts do move to the north there for Bly. Ravagers and Roaches hiding in the natural, afraid. The drones also afraid, but they've been conscripted into the army of Bly now because it's all hands on deck to take care of this Protoss force. Gungfubanda with his high mobility dodges fungal growth there, tosses out a disruptor, gets an alright connection. He is having to retreat though, as he has eaten one of the fungal growth, but so far he is still just able to nickel and dime his opponent. But there goes his high value Colossus. He doesn't leave empty handed though, as he nabs up a swarm host. Gungfubanda is really just using his blink stalkers, and then he's got the one disruptor here to try and turn things around for him. Neither player is mining at all right now. There's essentially no income. I mean, Bly's mining a bit of gas, but you need some minerals in your life. So if you take a look right now, Gungfubanda using his adepts to give himself vision. He wants to get off any pickoff that he can with his stalkers. Gets a roach. That's a nice pickoff there for Gungfubanda. We'll see if a Disruption Nova gets tossed out by the Protoss or not. A Stalker gets abducted, but it blinks away and stays alive. Lucky Stalker. Bly taking some shots there. Disruptor Nova goes off, but Bly dodges it. This game is nuts. The Zerg is managing to long distance mine a little bit here, so he can maybe make another unit or two, but I don't know what Bly can really make, which will turn things around. And oh, he's even going to lose some of his drones now. The Disruptor is still lurking there as well. Got to be careful with that Gungfubanda as it's getting a little bit close to his opponent's side of the map. To his opponent's army there. Gungfubanda going to be skirmishing once again with these stalkers. Disruptor tosses out a Nova. Doesn't hit anything but a creep tumor though. And this game, this engagement is still going on between these two players. Gungfubanda might lose a unit there. Oh, it's so close. He's just been babysitting all of his units. He loses an Adept, loses a Stalker there. However, he's not leaving empty-handed as he's going to grab himself a Ravager there, and these players have just been trading out non-stop, both of them dropping in supply as time goes on. Gungfubanda picking off drones, reducing Bly's little income more and more, but there we go. He eats a fungal growth. He's going to lose some stalkers as a result. The Disruptor comes forward to try and bail out his friendly units. No major connection though. Bly dodges the units, and both players fall in supply once again. This is nuts. What's the unit count right now? We're looking at 17 stalkers to 13 Ravagers as the main army for each player, and Gungfubanda with the better mobility seems to be doing all right. He managed to nab up the Viper, and it looks like this is starting to turn the way of the Protoss player here. As take a look at it. I mean, Bly's army has been whittled and whittled down. He lost his Viper, so that Spellcaster is no longer an option. And if Gungfubanda keeps this up, he can win this game. We do take a look, though. 5 more Ravagers morphing for Bly, spending some of his gas to convert his remaining roaches. Bly, he's just stuck. He can't do anything. The Stalkers are too quick. They have too much mobility. Gungfubanda looking for a big Disruptor hit. He'll settle for a Creep Tumor, and he's still got his Stalkers out on the map. 17 Stalkers for the Protoss player, and a dream. The one Adept there could be used to give high ground vision for Gungfubanda, but at this point in the game, neither player is mining. Gungfubanda could, in theory, long distance mine if he makes his one probe with his 80 minerals. However, I assume he's just worried about potential Lings being out on the map, and there is a single Ling on the map, which could really turn that around. But managed to get that one unit. Bly sending out some of his drones. As a matter of fact, he's sending out all of his drones. A bit of a risky play. If he loses those, he's going to basically be forced to make sure that he kills his opponent. And we can have a legitimate draw in this PvZ if both players decide to stop pushing. But it does look like that the Protoss player is continuing to get his wins there by picking off his opponent's units. But wait a second, did that Adept just die? Oh, I think the Adept did actually die. The Shade completed. Gungfubanda making a bit of a mistake there. The Disruptor now on its own as the Infestors and Ravagers are chasing it. Gungfubanda gonna be losing himself his Disruptor. That's a painful move. Looks like the Swarm Hosts are gonna be getting picked off as compensation, though. Gungfubanda is actually just sick of it. He's moving into the main base of his opponent, but if we take a look at this, he's suddenly really committed here. Does he get all of his opponent's drones? He's gonna have to recall, though. Gungfubanda needs to recall. He's gonna have to blink out. There we go. He recalls. He's gonna lose himself 3 Stalkers for that. And I don't know if that was worth it for Gungfubanda, as he lost a ton of his units there, and now Bly kept 3 drones alive. Bly is making yet another drone, because why not? He's going to go back to long-distance mining, and all of a sudden, he has had a second to breathe on the map, but this game is still going on. We are almost 30 minutes into this game right now. What an insane PvZ. What an absolute nutty game. Looks like a Ravager goes down to the Stalkers, so Gungfubanda getting something, but he eats a Fungal Growth. That could be more dead Stalkers. That's 2 dead Stalkers for Gungfubanda, and while Gungfubanda has had pretty darn perfect control, he's starting to let it slip a little bit, losing a few units here and there, and he actually goes for an offensive blink. Absolute, just a nutty play there, and oh, another Stalker could be getting caught here. The Fungal Growth does expire. The Stalker escapes with its life. I mean, the Infestors for Bly are worth their weight in gold, preventing Gungfubanda from just getting endless unit pickoffs here. Gungfubanda, if he can get the drones, he essentially doesn't have to worry about pushing his opponent anymore. But look at this. Gungfubanda is now long-distance mining with his 1 probe. There's a Ling out on the map, though, for Bly. I think the probe's going to be found, and that's going to be the end of Gungfubanda's long-distance mining if this probe gets picked off. Gungfubanda's coming back to try and save the probe from this Ling. It looks like he will actually save it, though, as he keeps his probe alive. 1 worker to 3 workers right now, both of them long-distance mining. Oh my gosh, what a game. Gungfubanda, he's going to continue long-distance mining here. He's got his Stalkers out on the map. Bly long-distance mining as well. There's the Stalkers. They're looking for any pickoff they can get. If they get a single Ravager, it is worth it, and they do manage to make it happen. They're a bit of a miss micro from Bly, and this game continues on as Gungfubanda, with his fabled 12 Stalkers, keeping the dream alive right now as Bly is switching it up, long-distance mining, so he can mine a little bit more money here, a little bit more money there. Stalkers able to hit a Ravager, but they don't get a kill. And kills are what Gungfubanda needs till eventually he can snowball and just win. He's going to be looking to finish off that Ravager. Got to dodge the Fungal Growth. Manages to get it. Nice move there from Gungfubanda. However, the Ravagers are pursuing, so he's got to be extra, extra careful. Going to be skirmishing with the Ravagers again. Gets another one. Very nice micro from Gungfubanda. What a close game. Bly, I mean, he's long distance mining, but it's a long way from him ever getting his economy back on track. Gungfubanda chrono boosting something. I'm not sure what. There we go. Chrono boosting his Nexus to build 1 more probe as he's going to start long distance mining more and more. Looks like this Spore Crawler going to be getting picked off. No longer giving Bly that vision. Gungfubanda definitely can't go up that ramp. There's 3 Infestors for Bly, however he's keeping some of them back as they're low on energy. Gungfubanda has a Stalker to the south, hoping to maybe catch a drone if Bly sends them out. Mining to this side. Bly isn't doing that just yet. Infestors are moving out. Gungfubanda dodges it just barely. Is Bly counting Stalkers as well, though? This game is so, so close. So close here. Oh man, I don't know what to say at this point in the game. The skirmish is still continuing on. Gungfubanda trying to push up that ramp. It's not happening though. Bly technically losing out in the economy as Gungfubanda is now long distance mining with his 2 probes. Oh, an Infestor misrallied by Bly goes down. Oh, I don't know if he was trying to hide that. Oh, that's a big loss for Bly. All hope is not lost yet, though, as he's still got 2 Infestors to catch his opponent's army, but losing that definitely hurts. Gungfubanda, though, going to be going up this ramp. Is he paying attention to his army? There's Ravagers waiting for him. He eats a Fungal Growth. Oh my gosh, Bly gets the Fungal off, catches tons and tons of the Stalkers, and all of a sudden, Bly has caught the majority of his opponent's army, and Gungfubanda might be past the point of no return with having such a minimal count of Stalkers now. Bly waiting at the top of that ramp was perfect. Look at this, though. This 1 Stalker is looking for these drones. If he can get them, that's going to be nice for Gungfubanda, having the peace of mind that his opponent isn't mining. There is a single drone left for Bly, and he can actually afford to make 1 more. Gungfubanda recalls, as a matter of fact. Going back to his base, he is long distance mining himself. However, he's still only on 2 probes. 7 Stalkers, 2 probes to the name of Gungfubanda, but I think Bly might be in the better spot now, as he's just got such an overwhelming supply of army. Gungfubanda has recall on his side. He's making yet another probe. His higher mobility is going to be looking to try and nab himself up some of these drones, maybe. If he can get one of these drones, that would be nice for him. Any unit he can get is absolutely worth it, but he's got a long way to go if he's just going to micro his way back into this game now. Has to run away due to the fact that there's the Infestors chasing his opponent. Gungfubanda has been trying to micro his way into a victory for so long here, but Bly is just doing a good enough job getting the pickoffs that he needs. He knows his opponent can't micro perfectly forever, and there we go. One of the stalkers goes down, another of the stalkers goes down, and that is it. Bly is able to take it after 34 minutes in an insane ZVP. What a nail-biter. Probably one of the longest engagements I've ever seen in a StarCraft 2 match. Ladies and gentlemen, let's try and hit that 30 like mark on this cast. This was the best game I've cast in quite a while. Oh my gosh, what a match. So yeah, let's hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, as I do a lot of StarCraft 2 commentaries pretty much every day on this channel. And then check out the Discord. And then there's also the YouTube memberships if you feel so inclined, but no obligation. Thanks so much to everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next time. This has been LaughNgamez.